So I got a question for the collective, and hopefully Medina could chime in because up until this point you're pretty fucking boring. Social grace and its issues. What are social grace issues that drive you crazy? For instance, and I believe Adam.
I don't think Dan's familiar with the term social grace.
Yeah.
Not the two words.
Well, that's
put
why I was going to
together.
give you examples.
You have to
So
ask
very
somebody
good
else.
example.
Not put together.
Definitely not put together.
No.
So for example, close talkers, over talkers, people that spit when they talk, people that have zero situational awareness, I guess. In certain instances, like what are those? Not necessarily in speech, because again, I do believe freedom of speech and all that. It's just like, just essay. I'm not going to give you an. You know what bothers you when people don't have any essay. What is that one thing that just drives you nuts?
Grind your gears.
Oh man,
What's mine?
right now,
Yeah.
I got one. I mean, I've seen this all the time. How many? We're all wearing masks. Orange County, Orlando, you have to wear a mask. But I even see this today in public. People wearing a mask. As soon as they gotta itch their nose, that mask is down, and they're scrubbing their hand across their nose, and mask goes up. And then they're touching everything in the grocery store, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, kid.
So that's a
I've seen grown ass
current
adults do
one.
that.
So that's a
right
current.
now.
Yeah.
Current, yeah, and that's just when we're talking about the COVID topic and social grace, where it has to be really important. I mean, now because life and death for some of those older folks, but it's just
What you bring up a very good point, because the ones I gave you are like historic and they've been around for a while. Over talkers, close talkers, blah blah blah. There's been shows, you go to a good Seinfeld, and I think they've addressed it, and it's hilarious. You just brought up one that might just become one of these now. It might just become the new social norm, and definitely in the near future.
The maskless face toucher.
like 30 years, 30, 40 years from now, we're going to be talking about, dude, you know what bothers me? Guys with the masks. Like, why is he flicking his nose through his mask?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it.
I just
Why
love
the
people that are super serious about masks that only wear it over their mouth and have their nose exposed.
They have their nose out.
I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
And like, I want to know the data behind homemade masks, right? Like,
oh yeah,
what's the data? Because I've searched for it and I can't find it.
The CDC did mention that 1-ply is probably not enough. You need 2-ply or 3-ply is even better. So there was something that said that. So what they're doing now, a lot of times, they're taking one piece of fabric, folding it, and then stitching it and making it two layers, I guess.
I mean, are there filters that you can put in a homemade mask? That would make sense.
You can.
I have a lead
There are,
case
because there's a pocket.
I wear a lead airtight case over my head. I'm almost pass out every single time, but
yeah, wear it and go for a run, dude.
We're not talking about what you and your wife do. We're not talking about that.
Oh,
50 Shades of Adam.
Jeez. So I kind of had one, kind of in that same vein. So this is in Jersey, and I'm in a hotel and I'm by myself, off in the distance. There's nobody around me, and I'm waiting for a bus or something, a van in this hotel, and I got headphones in, and a guy comes over to me and he's like, "Hey, where's your mask?" I'm like, "I don't have one. I'm about to get on a plane and I'm gonna go where they have it mandated." This is a few months ago. So you got to have a mask. It's mandatory. And at the time, the verbiage was, if you can't maintain 6 feet, you need a mask. Now, mind you, there wasn't anybody near me
until he walked up.
So I tell this guy, I'm like, actually, sir. Well, first I asked, well, who are you? Like, he didn't even announce himself. So it turns out he's the manager, the front end manager to this hotel. Doesn't announce him, doesn't have a name tag, nothing. He finally says who he is, and he's got, he's snapping his fingers. He's got people doing stuff, trying to get me a mask. And I said, well, actually, sir, thanks for introducing who you are now. The verbiage is, if you can't maintain 6 feet, that you need a mask. And up until you walking up, I was able to do that. He just kind of looked at me. By then, one of his cronies came over with a mask, and he's like, here, boss, give it to me. I found one. And he takes it, and kind of looks at me and gives it to me. So I take it from him, just put it in my jacket pocket, and go back to doing what I was doing. Now, arguably, that may not be the best recourse, and I'm not saying it's not important, but the point being, I think sometimes we overreact and we forget and we get this mob mentality, and we forget like what it's actually saying. Like if you're able to stay safe, just stay safe. That's like common sense stuff. Yeah. But we're going out to decapitate people for doing things, and we don't even know what's going on.
Reaction culture.
Yeah, we react instead of respond. Mm-hmm. We don't stop. We don't think about things first. Like, let me analyze this situation. Okay, that guy's by himself. If I approach him now, I'm impeding his 6 feet. I'm gonna leave him alone. Like, come on, we don't think anyway. So that's off on a tangent. We can go back to this. Social graces, Adam. What's yours?
Pet peeve. So there's a bunch of little ones.
Several.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever. They're like they don't really piss me off or anything. I just find
no, they don't have
minor nuisance. But I would say to get into the more current state of affairs, and also that is something that affected me with TPN probably more than anything else.
Nice plug.
Is the fact that the with social media, and I think honestly, and I can only say I've seen this in the last 2 years. Really.
Fucking spit it out.
Maybe 3 years. No, I'm not going to.
Here's the problem.
I'm
you
not going to.
You know what annoys me? People that take 2 minutes to tell a 20-second story.
It's not a 20-second story though. The problem is if I just say what I'm going to say, it makes no sense.
All right, go. Keep going with your story.
So I've only seen it in the last 2 or 3 years. I haven't.
What I'm doing my taxes. What?
Yeah. Sorry. All right. No, forget it. Social graces. People don't let people finish. There you go.
Well played, sir.
All right, Adam, go finish your story.
Well, in the last 2 or 3 years on social media, what I've seen being in the admin role and running that kind of thing is it wasn't like this before, but it's like this now. Is people are very much protective of their opinion, more so than they ever were. So, for instance, let's say we go out to the bar. Brandon has a statement that I don't care for. We get in a little bit of a discussion. Maybe it gets heated, but it doesn't go any further than that. The next day, it's like, what's up, bro? And that's the end of it. Social media, that's kind of how it was 2, 3, 4 years ago. It ain't like that now. And people will, honestly, somebody will post something in TPN. We take it down because it goes political diatribe. We don't want that in there. It's stupid. It's not good. It makes no sense to be in that platform. And then we get messages repeatedly from people going, why did you take my post down? That was a really poignant thought or something like that. And I'm like, well, yeah, for you, it was a poignant thought. But then when you write it, people, all they're going to do is litter it with this vitriol that has no place there. And then okay, it's gone. And the thing is instead of people going, oh, I understand what you're saying, they're pissed that they've been silenced. And I'm like, no, you're not silenced. You have that right everywhere else. Go use it. You just don't have that right here. Like everybody thinks their rights extend everywhere. And it's like, no, you can't go to a movie theater and yell fire. That's why the airlines are taking guys out of positions because you can't do that stuff. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying that is true. There's certain clubs that you can't join and just do. You can't go to certain golf facilities and wear whatever you want. That's the way they operate. If you don't like it, you don't belong there. That's the idea.
Whoa. What do you mean belong? Wait, man, you're starting to get personal.
Yeah, am I?
Well, I don't know.
If it says collared shirt required and you don't wear a collared shirt and they ask you to leave, what's wrong with that? That's
private. So
it's a private organization.
It's a private club. Yeah, you can do that. Just like your thing is a private.
Yeah, you want to be there, that's fine. Play by the rules. I get it. There are it's not discriminatory in who we want in, except that you should be a pilot or you should be wanting to be a pilot. What is upsetting is that the fact that these people have realized, and it goes across the board. And I mean, even I know I've been like that. And I just said, you know what? I'm not going to play that game anymore. My opinion is no more important than anybody else's opinion. But since the dawn of social media influencers, it seems like everybody thinks that they're the next big thing, and their opinion is going to get them there, or it's going to change somebody else's thought process. Dude, it's not going to change anybody's thought process. The only way you're ever going to get somebody to listen is to sit down and have a long form conversation with them over your type of beverage. And you know what? They're probably not going to change the way they think at the end, but maybe they might be slightly enlightened or informed. If you think of it that way, that'll change it.
And if they're that much, I think you did your job in having a little civil discourse. If you're not going to change anybody's mind. If you at least give them something to ponder. And if they use what you use in a conversation later on, even though they may not agree, like, hey, I got a buddy that said this thing about what I believe in, you know, and they're going to use that because it's more information that they can use in another conversation. Then at least I think you struck something. But you're not changing people's minds. Like, that's what this whole thing is. We're like such a farce sometimes.
So I think,
what are we doing?
That's the whole problem with that. And I guess maybe it's a little different role that I have.
Wait, Dan, did he answer the question?
No, not really, but it's okay. He just danced around.
We get what you're saying.
I guess to sum it up, it'd be the use of social media and thinking that you're going to change the world with your word or your opinion, and that is not social grace. It's the opposite of that. Like you're not going to change the world by typing a.
Yeah, you know what? You're gonna
update on your Instagram or what.
Well,
I don't even know.
Affect a lot of people.
Yeah, you're not going to change somebody's mind in a Facebook thread.
No, or a Twitter post.
Right.
But you are going to affect them. That's for sure.
You know, you look at, Joe Rogan, right? We talked about him earlier. He has a 3-hour platform, and he brings people on from all sides of the political spectrum, and they have a 3-hour conversation, which honestly, like, listening to something like that makes me think more than watching a 2-minute clip from Fox News or CNN.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
for sure, dude.
That 2 minutes, they're just trying to get their point across. It's basically a Facebook feed, right? Like, quick hitters, this is my talking point. And neither side is really able to expand on why they think that way. But you have long form media like a Joe Rogan or, even political podcasts, even though they're biased, lots of times it can still be like, all right, let's talk this through. And I don't have to agree with you, but now I understand where you're coming from. And I think there's a lot of value there too. But
what does Rogan always say? It's clickbait. You know, like that 2-minute spot on CNN, Fox News, doesn't matter. It's clickbait. They want to get you into their feed, and then you stay there. It's kind of like YouTube. You watch one video, boop, 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 boop. I'm going to follow these other videos down the rabbit hole. Yep. Longer eyes on the product, more time to hit you up with whatever advertising it is.
Absolutely.
Yep.
What's yours, Tyler? Make it quick. Jesus.
Yeah, I'll do 20 seconds and 20 seconds. So basically people at a red light on their phone, and when the light turns green, they're still on their phone.
Oh my God.
These aren't social graces. That's a pet peeve, dude. Totally different.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the new social grace. Because why? Because I know you're so close talking, over talking, but when we start talking about the modern stuff, like the stuff that the cell phone has changed, or like what you were saying is like social media has changed the game. Like there's these new ones now that we have to consider. And you both had great examples of that. I think, both of them.
When we have self-driving cars, it ain't going to matter anymore.
I know. I can't wait.
Oh, man.
Like right now, say like 8 cars get through a green light to turn left. With self-driving cars and everybody move at the same time, you'll get like 23 cars through. It's going to be
shoot.
amazing. Yeah. Wait, what was that, Brandon?
Yeah, I don't know.